Hello and welcome to the Convey Culture Podcast. I'm really excited about this episode. With me today, I have Katherine, and I remember when I first met Katherine, when you meet someone and they're only 18 or 19 and they have a plan for their life and they're passionate and you hear about how much they care for their family and you get to hear how they navigate the world, and then you hear others and all the positive things they say about her. And whenever I come into the office, and we'll get to more to how I know her, but when I come into the office, you can feel her energy and presence. And so when someone's 18 or 19 and moving into their 20s and they already have leadership acumen and they already move in a way that makes you like, you have an incredible future ahead of you, but I want to hear about your journey right now. So that's why I was so excited to talk to Katherine. So Katherine, thanks for being here.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm so excited for this.
It's going to be fun. We're going to have a good time. So I'd love to amplify your own voice and your own story. So tell me a little bit about how you identify, what's your culture and ethnicity, and how close do you feel to your culture?
All right. Well, I'm Katherine Fuquenes, and I was born in Tampa, Florida, and I moved to Colombia when I was 4 years old. So if you ask me, I'm from Colombia. My parents are from Colombia. My brother was born here in the United States as well. And yeah, I'm 100% Latina. And it's been kind of hard to keep trying to have the whole Latina picture and all that stuff here in the United States, especially here in Oklahoma because of the food mostly. But I try my best to my accent, the way I look, the way I speak. Everyone can tell I'm Latina. So
I love that though. And I love your accent whenever I can hear you. I walk in the office and I hear your voice. So how was that a big culture shift? Like you're in the Air Force, aerospace physiologist. How does that feel to have that culture shift between Colombia and live in Tampa, and then this experience in the Air Force where they move you to different places and you're dealing with a melting pot of cultures within the Air Force?
I'm just gonna be honest, it was hard. It was really hard because, especially being a teenager, I graduated high school in Colombia, so the way teenagers speak is way too different of the English that I learned. So I remember whenever I moved to Tampa, I was in Tampa just for 1 year after I graduated high school in Colombia. So I was just working, I was trying to learn more English, and then I shipped to BMT in San Antonio. And I remember those 2 months, it helped me to learn how teenagers were speaking, especially the females. And the food was different, the weather was different. And then I had tech school in Wright-Patterson in Ohio. So over there, I kind of felt more like myself because I already knew how to engage conversations with other airmen with my age. And well, now I'm here in Oklahoma, and it's still kind of difficult to adjust because I miss my people, the food, the weather, especially the weather. In Colombia,
what is with this weather? But yes,
every day is crazy weather here. Yeah. But it's hard. But I'm proud to be from Colombia, and every time I have a conversation with a stranger or my friends, I always bring up Colombia to the conversation.
Yes. Yeah. I would imagine that is culture shock, because even as someone who just has moved with the military, it is culture shock. It is different everywhere you go. And people act like America is a singular culture. They're like, it's America. And then every state has a different culture. Cities have a different culture. Yeah. So it's an adjustment period. And I would imagine even coming from another country and having the experience, it amplifies that even more. Because we're a melting pot here in the United States.
It's if you think about it, okay, I'm a teenager, then I left home, from another country, then you join the military where they treat you different. They're trying to build this new person, and you say, every state. So it was a lot of changes in just less than a year or 2 years. Yeah.
Love that. And I also find that your decision to join the Air Force is so much more strategic than I think a lot of people give young people credit for. Sometimes I just joined because it was my last option. It's no, I joined because I wanted my education. There tends to be more deeper and intentional thinking behind that decision than I think a lot of people realize. So what was kind of your decision why you were this is why I want to join?
All right. So my dad was obsessed with the Marines and all the like US military. So I grew up just watching movies of like military related with my dad. And I know I made the decision when I was in Colombia, sixth grade. I remember I had to do a presentation of like what you want to do whenever you get older. And I was like, I'm gonna graduate high school. I'm gonna move to the United States. I'm gonna join the I first thought about Marines because my dad was always talking about Marines. And then I got her over here, and everyone was talking about the Air Force. They have better opportunities. They treat you better and all that stuff. So I joined because I want to help my parents. They're still back in Colombia, and I have to wait to turn 21 so I can request for them to have a visa. And they want to live over here with me.
Yes.
So that's the big, like, that's in the top. I want to help my parents and my family live back there. And also college, because in Colombia it's really expensive to pursue higher education. So I was like, the military pays for the college, so I might as well get that benefit. And that's what I'm doing right now. So yeah, I'm very
Yes.
happy.
And what are you studying?
So I'm getting my bachelor's degree in biomedical sciences in Arizona State University.
Congratulations. And also, I like when I talk about there was so much intention behind that decision. You're like, it's for my family, it's for going to school, it's for biomedical, and we need women in STEM and biomedical and thinking about being in these careers and having an impact. So I love that you were so intentional about that decision and why you did it. Uh, my grandparents got their citizenship because my grandfather chose to join the military. And I don't think they realized how many people take that journey, but how you have a different level of patriotism when you make that decision because you're forsaking one country to fully be all in with another. So you almost have to fall in love with it through the process. And my grandparents have so much pride about this country because of that journey to get here, I think, as well.
No, and I'm grateful for all the opportunities that I'm getting being in the Air Force. And, I'm active. So every day I'm just like working towards getting more pilots and all that stuff. And yeah, I'm grateful because for them, I'm getting my college and I'm helping my parents. So yeah.
I love it. So one of the things we talk about a lot on the podcast is young adults who are redefining traditional notions of success. And I think in general, traditional notions of success or traditional paths to success are being blown out. Because I have friends who you would look at on paper and be like, they are so incredibly successful in their career, but they are deep in student loan debt or they're in a job they hate. I think your generation is very much looking at success differently. Are
Yeah.
you seeing that from your peers that are approaching what success looks like a little differently?
Well, I will say, like, okay, my mom is my example of what success is, and it's not like the what social media gives you, like the millionaires that have like crazy life, like luxury and all that stuff. I feel like my mom is successful because she's happy with what she has, and then I know it happens sometimes to me, being like having 19. I scroll down TikTok and I find all these girls like recording her day, like, yeah, I'm gonna Starbucks, I have this car, and I'm like, oh, I want that. And I feel like us being teenagers, like that life that we see from them, we think that that's what we should be at. In I don't know, like I feel like well, whenever you ask like my friends, we're here in this bubble of the military, so we don't know well like how is civilian life and all stuff. So I don't know what a normal teenager would think, but here with the airmen that I know, social media is a big thing, especially those examples that we think are successful but they're not. And then yeah, that's what I will say.
Yeah, I think social media is such a tricky space because I enjoy it. I've learned so much from it, but it is tricky because it sometimes makes you feel like you're not where you need to be in life or you don't have things figured out.
Yeah.
And like to me, you just hearing you talk, you're like, I'm fully getting paid for a job and I'm 19. I'm also going to school and it's covered. I'm also like, there's so many things that make you ahead of where a lot of other 19-year-olds are. But in the same breath on social media, would that be something that they would aspire to? Like, would they consider that success if you saw it on social media? So I also think there's this weird there's what you want to look at from a lifestyle that you want to dream about, and then there's reality of what success really looks like for someone. So social media plays with your head, and then it's physical body things and identity things. So
There's a lot, yeah.
it's a lot. And I also think it can be so unrealistic. It's like you're doing this and this, plus you have to be in amazing shape, plus you have to, and I'm like, okay, one of these things is gonna have to give. Like, it's not all good.
Yes.
So does social media, I know you're uber responsible and you're on your stuff, but how much does social media tempt you to buy or shop, or how much influence does it have over you?
A lot. Let me just say that. Like, yeah, especially TikTok. I'm gonna keep mentioning TikTok because that's what I do in my free time. I'll be scrolling down over there. And it's just that, like, you see this young ladies using this new product, especially skincare. I'm all into skincare, and I'm like, and it's crazy because in the video they add the link, so it's just one touch, and you're already there in the shopping cart, and it's just a struggle because you feel like, should I not, and then you keep viewing like videos, and they're trying to just sell that to you because everyone is like talking good stuff about the products, and you're like, but what's behind it? So it's a struggle every day watching all those videos and all those products.
I know, and I think my theory on TikTok, why it also pulls you in, is you somewhere in the algorithm you find yourself. Like when I go in, I'm suddenly finding these Black women who are traveling, they're interested in the same things, and I feel like I found my like community there all of a sudden. And little things like, I'm not the biggest animal person. I'm just not. But I, for some reason, love an animal video. Like, love them. But in person, if you gave me a dog, I'd be like, I cannot take care of another thing. So I'm getting these things. And it's like, you find these like little pockets of your community. And then it pulls you in. I almost bought a dog product the other day. And I do not have a dog. But I was like, but it goes, the charity goes to supporting. And I'm like, pull it together, woman. You do not have anything to spend this on. So
it's crazy the power that it has with you. And that's the thing with TikTok. I think that's my love-hate relationship. Because I love the way it knows me. Like, it really does. Because every time I open, it has everything that I like, that I want to be, and all that stuff. And then it's just kind of scary because it knows me very well. Like,
it does. And it's comforting. Or if you're not feeling it, it like changes the vibe on you mid-scroll. You're like, I'm not into this today. Like, I was in puppy mode yesterday. Today I'm in lipstick mode. And suddenly it's like, I'm like, I don't know what kind of mind reading thing you're doing. I'm kind of into it because I like it, but it's a funny world. So how do you feel, and we're pivoting away from social media just a little bit, but how do you feel that your career choices or your life choices, has it affected your identity at all? Is it affected how you want to see yourself in the future, or you feel pretty aligned with your career choices?
Well, whenever I was in high school, I always mentioned I'm going to be a doctor. I want something related with medicine. And when I joined the Air Force, I talked with my recruiter, and I was like, I want something related with the medical. Yes. And then I ended up being aerospace physiology. So it's crazy because you can grow up having this mindset of you're going to be something, but the point I'm right now, I love aerospace physiology. I feel like you don't grow up saying, oh my God, I dream being an aerospace physiologist. Like, no, but it's just this career field is so interesting. Every day you have something different to work on, and all the knowledge that you get from aviation and all this stuff. So I love being in this career field. And I don't know if I'm going to stay in this specific career field because I still have my dream of being a doctor, but I'm happy with this decision. And then I don't know, like I feel like the world is always trying to tell us to like, for example, I grew up thinking I was going to be a doctor, that you have to be that to be successful, or because that's your vocation, all this stuff. But every day you can discover new things that are going to make you happy. So I feel like you shouldn't be listening to those thoughts saying, if you thought about this last year, you have to accomplish it. No, you can change, and you can discover, like, I'm actually happier doing this than the other thing. So you are discovering yourself every single day with new things. So yeah, I'm happy with aerospace.
Love that. It's true. And to know that at your stage in life is so big, because you could be a flight doc, right? You can go to any direction you want to go. And I do think sometimes we get on this path and we're like, if I don't do this, I'm a failure. If I don't go get, It's like, there's this interesting stat that says you should never ask kids what they want to be when they grow up, because I think it's like 60% of the jobs will not exist by the time you become an adult. 60% of those jobs won't exist. And the other, I could have these percentage wrong, but then there'll be another 60% of completely new, different jobs that they could have never imagined. Like AI wasn't going to be a thing a kid was going to get into 10 years ago. So it's just fascinating how much we want to like label ourselves, and then that whole thing could not exist.
That was me, like, never in Colombia, never mentioned something like aerospace physiology, never. So it was just one choice. I signed that contract and I'm like, aerospace physiology. Okay. And here I am, happier. And also one thing that I want to mention is just, I know here, like I'm saying I'm 19, but
Yeah.
I know there's people that are going to watch this video and they're like a little bit older than me. You still can pursue those dreams. Like, don't wait for like age or time. There's not a label like that. You can still pursue those things.
Well, tell me what aerospace physiology is, because it was also my husband's dream job. And again, like, he's what, 20, 30 years old, 20, let me not say 30. He will be very offended. He is 20 years old. And that was his dream job. And he kept saying to himself, I'm too old. I've already done this. And then he's doing it now. So tell me a little bit about aerospace physiology.
All right, that's a great question, because I've been hearing this job for over a year. And every time they ask me that question, I'm like, okay, what do we do? So just to keep it like simple, we teach pilots. So when your body is flying those high altitudes, there are some changes that happen. So we teach the pilots how to overcome that, or how to treat it in the aircraft. So we have the physiological side, where we're going to be teaching all of the mechanical changes in your body and that kind of stuff. And we also teach survival. So we will be teaching ejection, ground egress, dragging procedures, all that stuff. And then, so that's our main mission over here, but this career field has other missions. So we work in the centrifuge, where we teach the pilots how to pull those G's whenever they're flying fighter aircraft. And we also have the mission of with the jumpers of the Marines and Army. That's a cool job. I want to do that next. You'll be like flying with them, and you can see like them jumping. That's so cool. So we're in charge of the equipment and all that stuff. And also we have the mission with U2 pilots. So they have to wear this full pressure suit and kind of looking like astronauts. And that's a cool job, especially if you're interested in working with NASA. I would love to do that at one point. So that's a great experience. But yeah, we have all these missions, and at the end of the day, we're just trying to make those pilots better in that altitude, because we're not designed to be flying at those altitudes. So here is the role of the aerospace physiologist to help the pilot over that.
That was such a good explanation, and I'm going to use that from now on, because whenever people ask me, I'm like, "Ooh, he helps pilots withstand air pressure." Like, I give like a weird one-line sentence. So I love that. That's a beautiful description, and your passion and excitement for it, I feel like, really does bring interest to the career field. It's such a cool career field, and you all have a wide range of backgrounds before you got here to doing this. So I think your enthusiasm for it is exciting. And when I could be wrong, so Air Force, don't fault me for this stat, but they were saying some of the most expensive investments in the Air Force are the pilots. And so when you think about your responsibility of you are taking care of the health and safety of one of the most important assets in the Air Force, is pretty cool when you think about it.
Yes. I know I do this joke sometimes whenever I'm working. We have the parachute landing fall, so we teach them how to land in the ground. And I'm like, careful, pilots, because you guys are expensive and we're in charge of you all. But yeah, it's a big role as helping them. And you know what? It's for my background. Sometimes when I say international students, I remember the one time I saw one from Spain, and I'm like, he speaks my language and he's here. And I know we have opportunities to even go to Colombia and teach our job in our language. That would be amazing.
It's so cool. And that makes you so valuable too, as someone who's bilingual, who can go to different countries, support on different missions. You have such a cool career ahead of you. Yeah. I often find there's a lot of stereotypes about people who join the military and why they join the military. And I love to amplify stories of people who are taking the world's largest employer getting a job with them and building a career. And everyone makes it more complicated than that. And I'm like, no, they chose to work for the world's largest employer. There's additional benefits and commitments that come with that. But you can have a really cool career, and it doesn't need to be, because everyone always asks me, do you fly? Do you fly? And he's like, no, it's not my job. So there's so many different jobs you can have. That's the other thing I think people miss, is they think there's one job you can do.
Yeah, they have this idea of you when you mention you're in the military, and then you start like explaining your job, and every job that person is gonna be knowledgeable about that. And I think you shouldn't have that granted. Like, we're smart. Like, we have these jobs and we're smart, and here we're working here for this country.
I love that. That's another thing. The intelligence thing always is so weird to me when people are like, well, you chose it as a last option. Yeah. And it's like, no, I made an intelligent choice. And I'm not saying that everyone joins the Air Force. Not everyone, I'm not in. That's a decision everyone makes differently. But I also think it isn't a decision you should be disparaged for, because any job you can do on the outside, you can do in the Air Force. And so it's fascinating to like, and now you don't have $200,000 of student loan debt, and you have a different career path in front of you, and you're able to work and go to school and, help out family members. That's a big lift.
It is, yeah.
And you get to test. I always feel like you also get to do job testing and safety. Like, when you go out in the real world, you don't get to test a job and be like, oh, I don't want to do that, and not have any sort of repercussions, because in certain ways you're building a resume or doing things in the Air Force, you can kind of navigate and do different careers.
You can always cross-train and start over.
Exactly. I love it. All right. So we'll get into our rapid fire questions, and these are fun, and they're only meant to be rapid fire, fun things about you. One of the goals is, I also think when brand marketers listen to this podcast, it's like, there can be so many stereotypes about a person and culture and experience that I think it's really good for them to hear firsthand. Like, here's the brands I love. Here's the things I'm interested in. So we'll do a quick rapid fire. All right, first one. And we'll see. You may be the streak breaker, because everyone has said the exact same answer on this in the last 5 or 6 podcasts. So let's see. If you could work with any brand, who would it be?
Oh, okay. Here in the US, the one that comes to my mind is Rare Beauty by Selena Gomez.
Rare Beauty, yes.
Rare Beauty.
I was like, I know this one.
Yeah, Rare Beauty from Selena Gomez, because I feel like she's such a good example of like self-love and discover yourself. And this brand, I was watching this story of how everything developed, and yeah, I'll love to work with her.
So that has been mentioned twice. So you're on a trend with Rare Beauty. Nike is typically the one I get, but another guest that said Rare Beauty. And I will reiterate what I said. That her mascara is like next level. That's probably one of my favorite products, is her mascara. One celebrity you want to work with, and one somebody you want to collaborate with, work with, do a project with, and one you just want to get advice from.
Ooh, this one is hard.
I know. It's like you get in 2 different spaces they live in too.
Okay. I will get advice from I don't know his name. So is this individual from, I don't know if it's the Army, but he had 3 careers. So he was a Navy SEAL.
Wow.
Then he was a doctor, and now he's an astronaut. And all of that in his military career.
Wow.
I would love to sit down with him and be like,
advice.
So Navy SEAL, all the training. Doctor, he was a fully doctor, so he completed all that training. And now an astronaut. I'm like, So I'll get the advice from him. I don't know the name, but...
You remember his name? Too bad, because I would be like, I'm going to tag him in this and be like, Catherine will need some advice. Like,
I'll give you the name after it.
Give you the name. I'll find it.
And then, so one is advice, and the other one was, what was the...
work with, do a project, collaborate on.
Something with skincare. Who?
I know.
Actually, Anastasia Beverly Hills. Oh, I love her eyebrows.
Eyebrow.
Yes. I'll work with her.
You work with her? Those are good ones. No one said those 2, so those are good ones. What are the least likely 3 words that someone would use to describe you? So things that they would never say these 3 things about you.
Ooh.
I know.
All right. One will be like lazy.
Yeah.
You'll never say I'm lazy because I'm working.
I know you are. I would not say that yet.
Yeah. The second one, selfish. Because if you know me, every time I have something or I'm always thinking about someone to share with.
Yeah.
So first it's gonna be my brother, my parents, my friends. Like it's good to think about yourself, but I'm always having like I want to share this. So you can never say I'm selfish. And then the third word, this is hard.
I
Do you
know.
have one in mind?
It's an ego one. Um, I would say uninspiring. I would say that's a word I would never use to describe you because you come in, the energy when you enter a room, you can see. I have this thing that I think everyone has a superpower, and some people stumble on it and some people don't. And I
Mm-hmm.
think when you're young and you stumble on it, it like propels you so much forward. So I think you really have this gift of inspiring. Like you walk in and you feel the mood change a little bit and the tone change a little bit and how people operate change. And I think that's like your secret superpower that you have beyond being smart.
Thank you.
Power to be able to walk in a room and your presence makes people inspired. It makes them want to level up. And that to me is like your super skill that you have. And I'm sure you're going to unlock a bunch more in your life, but
Thank you.
I would give you that one. Okay. Your favorite content sources, and you can give two because I'm guessing TikTok's going to be one, but the favorite place, it can be streaming, social media, TV, whatever your favorite content source.
So the first one is gonna be TikTok because I'm always there, and then the second one Pinterest.
Pinterest.
Pinterest is like such a good social media because you go in, there's no drama, there's nothing,
No.
and you're just looking at all these beautiful pictures for idea projects and all that stuff. So Pinterest,
Pinterest. So did you hop on Lemonade when it came out? Like TikTok's Pinterest? No.
I mean, I saw like the videos, but not really.
So Lemonade came out, or TikTok came up with their own version of Pinterest, but it's not at the richest of Pinterest yet at all. Because I'm with you, Pinterest is so unstressful. Like I have an album that I just call Black Girl Magic, and all I ever do is when I see something on Pinterest that like makes my heart react, I put it in. Like it could be clothing, it could be food, it could be like these are the things that. So when I want to feel magical, I go down this path or room design. But Lemonade, they're trying to go after that same category of people. But I don't know. It doesn't have Pinterest level robustness yet. But I love Pinterest. And one more fun thing about Pinterest that I really like about them, they're big into inclusivity and they live what they preach. Like I love that you can select a skin color now and you can be like, I want lipstick and like this is my skin tone, and then they'll only show you images that like fit your skin tone. I love it because so much you'll see things you're like, that doesn't apply to me, but so that's a really cool feature. I'm on Team Pinterest too. Let's see. What are you listening to right now, music wise? What's your favorite artist?
All right, let's don't tell my mom. Bad Bunny.
I know, but it is.
So I'm big Bad Bunny, and then there's another singer from Colombia. His name is Fade, and he was recently here in Oklahoma City. I went to his concert. It was amazing. And then so I'm always listening to reggaeton, but I also listen to pop. I love Taylor Swift, Ariana Grande, everything you can think of. I'll be listening to that.
I know, and I'm a huge Bad Bunny fan, but also I want to. I hear his concerts are amazing, and he hasn't had one that had come near here that doesn't sold out immediately. But I hear his concerts are so good. And then he's dating one of the Kardashians, I think. And I was like, what?
That is great.
I couldn't do it. I don't know why. And that's me being bad and probably prejudiced. But I'm like, what? Why? But what? Go. So.
I don't know, but yeah, that's a big drama that is currently on TikTok. No. All of your songs, you're always talking about like having a Latina and all this stuff. And then I'm like, big side eye.
And I was like, listen, love who you love, your relationship, your choice. Her heart must have spoken to your heart, but I'm just like, well, that was a curveball. Like, okay. They got some power over people. All right. this is a question that I have to give a little context to, because the question is, you have $300 to spend on something selfish. You cannot tell me I'm going to give it to my mom or my brother. You cannot say you're going to do something nice with it. You have to do something ridiculously indulgent. What are you spending your $300 on?
My God, I would just run to like Sephora and just buy makeup and skincare without like thinking about bills, my family, anything.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good one. Like a day in Sephora or Ulta is a fun day. Like of just no holds barred. The Sephora in, I want to say it's Vegas. One of them, Vegas or LA, was so big, and I felt like I could have spent like 4 hours in there, just like walking around. It was like
wow.
I know, must have been LA. I think it was LA. All right, I think I know the answer to this question, but we'll see. Would your 12-year-old self think you're cool?
Yes, 100%. Everything. So my biggest dream whenever I was like a little girl was joining the military, having a car, and just being like independent. And but that's me. So if my 12-year-old would be like, she would be like, oh my God, Katherine. Yeah.
I think so too. I think any 12-year-old would think you're pretty cool. I really do. Anything that I should have asked you or that you want to share about your culture, identity, your experience in the Air Force, anything?
Well, I would just say that every decision is hard. Like, it was not easy, joining the military. BMT was not easy. And, there's so many like moments that I'll be like, is this worth it? And then I try to remember all the good things that I like, helping my mom, like the friends that I have here. And you should just like keep thinking about those moments, because nothing is easy. It's gonna be hard, but you have to keep thinking like, this was my dream and I'm gonna finish this. Or because I'm telling you, in 6th grade I was already thinking like, I'm gonna join the military every year till I graduated. And then I remember whenever I stepped off that bus, I was going up to the stairs and the MTIs were yelling at me. I was like, what am I doing? Like, why am I here? I don't want to be here. And it's crazy because all these years I had like pictures in my room. I was always talking about that moment, and that moment came, and I'm like, why am I here? So yeah, it's gonna be hard, but you can do it. So keep working on it, and you're gonna be proud of yourself.
Was BMT the hardest part of the journey? Basic military training, was that the hardest part of the journey? Was tech school? What do you think was the hardest part of the journey?
Well, I would say the hardest thing was like the NT, because that's a big shock. That's a shock over there. And then maybe like whenever you actually start working on the job, because that's when you realize what your rank means, what your daily duties look like, and then you have to get adjusted to that. And yeah, I wouldn't say like being away from my family, because I already had to say bye at home like a year prior to BMT, so that wasn't like way too hard, because I already like was used to not being around them. But yeah,
it's crazy because I remember like our son was in town for Thanksgiving, and you and him were like the exact same age. And it was crazy because where you are, like maturity, and he's incredible. This is not disparaging. He's at Howard. He's doing great. But where you are in terms of maturity and where he is, like you have a job, so it's just such an interesting thing to see the multiple lives of 19-year-olds at the same time. You have a full-on office job, you have responsibilities, you have things, you're working on $1 million pilot, so it's so interesting how life choices can take you in that. But kudos, you're doing it very well, you're shining, you're happy, and I know you are juggling a lot, because school period is hard. When you said biochemistry, I was like, ma'am, I don't even know how to spell biochemistry. So like you keep on that path. So the fact that you're juggling those things and doing well at work is just inspiring. You're incredible.
Yeah, like I'm happy because I'm doing all of that. But like if you ask me what's my biggest struggle right now, it's just I'm always thinking about all the others 19-year-old that are just like, like finishing high school, going to college, living with their parents. And I'm like, how does that feel like? You're still in that bubble and you're like still a teenager and you can joke around, you don't have to think like big decision, and then here I am. Like I'm happy where I am at, but that's a like I always have that in the back of my mind. Like I wanna like for one day I would love to be a normal teenager.
Teenager of leisure. I know. And I do think that plays into culture a lot, right? Like there's a culture piece of your experiences versus someone else's culture, what would feel like so out of the norm for them. For you, it's like culturally, I have a responsibility to take care of my family, or I feel more motivated to make decisions differently. So it is, and everyone only knows their reality, because I bet if you ask another 19-year-old, they'll be like, my life is so hard. It's so, you know what I mean? Because you only know your own reality and what you can speak to in your experience. So.
Yeah.
Well, this is incredible. I think you are one of those people that will shine a light into an area and thinking and that people won't typically come across. Like I think people in their entire lifetime could not come across someone who has your same experiences. So I love that I get the opportunity to amplify your story and your journey.
Thank you.
Do you want to call out any of your social media channels for people to follow, or are you like, leave me alone?
Well, yeah, like I have a dream of being an influencer one day.
Let us know. Tell us.
Yeah, my Instagram is Katherine Fuquenes, and I know you can like see my name over here because it's a weird last name. I'm gonna say
yes.
that.
Okay.
And then yeah, that's my Instagram. My Facebook is also my name, and then TikTok. I do funny videos. And yeah, you can find me Katherine Fuquenes. That's it.
I'll put your podcast description. I'll put your handles in the podcast description so they can find you.
Thank you,
Katherine. This conversation has been absolutely wonderful and exactly how awesome I thought you would be on our podcast. So thank you for being willing to be my guest.
Sure.
And you have such a bright future ahead. I feel like I'm gonna have to do a recap in like 10 years and be like, here's where Dr. Fuquenes is today, and we'll do like a whole recap on where you are. Thank you so much.
Thank you.